Hello and welcome back to more High Peak. Well, today you join me on the way to work and I'm in a bit of a bad mood. I will give you a warning in advance. I'm a little bit stressed. You see, it's the start of a new month and last month was the quietest September we've ever had on record. Which means today I've got bills and bills everywhere I look, more bills, and no money to pay them with. That's why I'm under a little bit of pressure. We sold 18 cars last month at High Peak Autos, which might not sound too bad, but trust me, that equates to a massive fat loss for High Peak Autos. To put that into context, last month we sold 18 cars. Last September 2024, we sold 38. So we're 20 cars down. Now, if you roughly work out 20 cars times £1,000 profit per car, that's £20,000 I'm down from this time last year. You don't need to be Warren Buffett to know that that isn't sustainable, so this month has got to be an improvement. It has to be. Otherwise, well, there's no business. This morning I woke up to a text from NatWest, which was nice of them, informing me that there wasn't enough money in my account to pay all my direct debits. So I've had to bail High Peak Autos out with my own money, which I don't like to do. I suppose I shouldn't moan, really. This is the life of every small business owner in the world, isn't it? And probably has been since the start of time. It just always is like this. You get peaks and troughs, good months and bad months. But last month was so poor, it's going to take an extra special month this month just to try and break even. I think every other month I've been in business, and High Peak Autos turns 10 this month, I set this up in 2015, I've made a profit, or very worst case, broken even. I've never ever gone backwards until last month. The annoying thing is I can't really work out why. Nothing's changed. We've still got loads of stock, so it's not like there's a shortage. We've got loads of decent stock as well. There's loads of variety, so it isn't like I've put all my eggs into one basket. It's not like we've only got expensive stuff or only got cheap stuff. There's a wide range of cars like there always is. We haven't suddenly changed staff, nothing has changed. And yet we're 20 cars down from last month, which is worrying. It's tricky, I don't really know what's happened. I guess I should just write it off as just being a bad month, shouldn't I? And not think too deeply about it. But it does bother me, especially when I have to lay out my own money just to keep its head above water. I really don't like doing that. I know in business in general, and small businesses in particular, you can't always beat last month's figures. It's not possible, is it? You can't keep growing every single month forever. But this needs to work. I need to turn this around because too many people rely on me and it for a living. So I can't see it fail. On top of it being quiet, to rub salt in the wounds, we've also had a few broken cars come back. Cars we sold in good confidence a month or 2 months ago, and they've come back for repairs, which has broken me a little bit. Then on top of that, I had my annual FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority bills to pay, and I also had my quarterly VAT come out as well, so it has been a tough month. I've had negativity and bills come in from all angles. I'm probably at fault for this a little bit because I don't know exactly how much it cost me to keep my doors open. I did work it out a few years ago and it was like 20k a month. I should probably work it out, but it's probably closer to 25 grand today. So you've got to sell an awful lot of cars every single month just to break even. Like I say, we normally do between 35 and 40 cars a month. You know that you can't win on every single car, but most of them you do. You get a few grand profit here or there, and then your bills get paid. But last month was particularly difficult. I'm going to head to work now on this rather miserable day and see what's gone wrong and what I can do to change things slightly. I know the garage itself still looks a mess because I'm halfway through the renovations, but in all honesty, I kind of ran out of money, so that'll have to wait until I've got some more money to finish it off. But I don't think it's that. The garage has always been a bit scruffy. I've been there for 7 or 8 years now, and it's never stopped people buying before. I don't think it's that. But I'm going to head to work and just see what I can do. See if I can tweak things slightly. See if I can reduce my costs a little bit. And maybe see what I can do to try and drum up some more business, because things have got to start moving again. One thing I mustn't do, though, is go in there in a bad mood. I can't bring everyone down. I've got to try and stay upbeat. That's a challenge, isn't it? Right, anyway, I shall see you there. And that brings us nicely to today's video sponsor, Car Vertical. Now, before you hand over any cash for a used car or motorbike, it's really important that you do a thorough vehicle history check first. Let me show you how it works then. All you need to do is go to carvertical.com and type in the reg or the VIN. I'll also leave the link below in the video description, but all you need to do is type in Mike Juliet 18 Uniform Kilo Golf and then check vehicle. And what this does then is it checks database in 35 different countries. This isn't just a UK only thing. It'll tell you whether the car's ever been stolen, written off, had a mileage rollback, or has outstanding finance on it. In addition to that, it shows you things like the ownership changes, the reg plate changes, the MOT history, the spec, the average market value. So much there that I run out of breath. It doesn't take long to generate this report, and it isn't expensive, and it's cheaper still if you use my promo code HIGHPEAK. That's HIGHPEAK, all one word, and you'll save yourself 20% off each and every check that you do. And you can use that promo code as many times as you like. Right, and the report's ready. So let's view report. We've got a low score here, so there's an issue with the mileage, possible rollback. This could be the reason it hasn't sold, you know. It's clear on all the other fronts though, so no outstanding finance, no recorded damage, all that stuff, so that's all good. Beware, this vehicle may have fake mileage. Let's go then. So if we go down to the area of concern, it had done 12,000 miles, then 26, then the following year 41, then somebody had entered the mileage in at 18. Now, having done this job for years, I can spot that as just being a typo. There's nothing suspicious there, but it's worth being armed with that knowledge. It tells you the full spec of the car. It's 1.6 petrol, one owner change in 2020. Then we've got the most recent MOT, which was done in March 2025, so it is due another. And yeah, that's it. So thanks Carverse for sponsoring another video. And yeah, don't forget my promo code HIGHPEAK for 20% off. Well, it's not all bad news. We've just had a phone call and sold my Peugeot 3008. Now, I'd sold this previously like a month ago, and then the guy just completely ghosted us. So I had to send the money back to the finance company, and the whole deal fell through. But we've just spoke to another finance company now, and they've got a customer approved for it, and they're going to send the funds over later. So I don't want to count my chickens again, because I did that last time and it didn't work. But I think we might have sold it. Hopefully the whole deal goes through this time and it stays out the door. So what I've got to do next, it doesn't need anything because we prepared it for the last buyer. I'll say buyer. All I need to do now is just charge it. I'm going to go and put some fuel in it and then leave it on charge because it's a plug-in hybrid. So we'll make sure that when they collect it, it's fully charged, ready to go. So it's not all bad. Hopefully if that goes out the door and I get paid and the 3 or 4 sell over the weekend, then my fortunes might have turned around a little bit. You never know with this job. It's like snakes and ladders. Some days you go up a ladder and other days you tread on a snake, whatever the phrase is. Right, then we're going to charge this. Right, here it is then. So it's a late 2019 Peugeot 3008. It's a nice spec. It's a plug-in hybrid. It's automatic. It's got a really nice interior actually. And like I said, we prepared it already, so it's already had its service, MOT, so it doesn't need anything. I'll just get it charged up, ready to go, and then I'll vacuum out the mats, double check everything's in order, and then put it back in the showroom. And then it's ready for its new owner to collect. Just got to figure out where I charge it, because I'm not oh, there we go. That's just a single, that's not the quick charge, is it? It's just a single socket. I hope they've got one of those. And that's it really, so let's go and plug it in and try and get my 17 grand back in the bank. Now it's only done 19,000 miles this. And to be honest, there's no way it should have hung around as long as it has. Having said that, if the first sale went through, then it wouldn't have been here as long, would it? We'll try and figure out how to charge it now then, and then give it half an hour, put it back in the showroom, give it a wipe down, and then it's ready for its new owner. You know, over the years I've made no secret of the fact that I don't really like Peugeot, but this one's quite smart. I like the interior. That's alright, you just come out the wrong way. To figure out which socket it is, because it doesn't have the quick charge double plug, it's only a single. If not, I'm going to have to get it back in the showroom and pinch the lead out of my car maybe and just leave it on charge overnight. Right, let's go and have a look. I hate EVs, have I told you this? So there should be a lead under here. Honestly, what a faff. All for like 30 miles range. Accept, start. There we go. Job done. How long does it say it's going to take? about 3 weeks, I think. Right, we'll come back later then. I'm going to head back to the garage now then and finish off teeing everything up for the weekend. If that goes, then I'll be quite happy. This is the best part of 20 grand back in the bank. I just need those other 3 or 4 to go, then I'll be quite happy. Well, happier. Well, we're back at work now and I've got a stack of invoices for everything that sold last month, so I'm going to go through that and work out how much profit I've made or lost. I've also got a pile of bills as well which I need to go through. I'm not really looking forward to this, but it's necessary. Like I say, it was a really poor month. I think we sold something like 18 cars in total, which is bad for us. The same month last year we sold 38, so we're 20 behind, which is a bit of a problem. And some of these deals I'm looking at aren't particularly profitable. We sold a Honda Civic, so that will have had about £1,200 profit in, that's not too bad. What else has gone? These are some trade cars that I've got no profit in. These aren't including the 18, by the way. We sold a BMW. That wasn't a great deal because I spent too much on it. Still, it's money back in the bank. I can't win them all. We sold a Vauxhall Insignia. That was a decent deal, actually, thinking about it. That's all right. That's one. Vauxhall Corsa. Again, this is bread and butter stuff. This is the kind of stuff that I like to sell 30 of a month. Little Corsas like this with £1,000 profit in. We sold a Toyota Auris. That was a nice car, actually. That had a decent chunk of profit in, so that's good. Peugeot 3008 for 2,995. That won't have been a great deal. That cost me a few £100 that in preparation, so there might have been maybe £600 or £700 profit in that. It's not brilliant. Sold a VW Up. That was a decent deal. That's good. But as you can see, these lists of invoices are getting thinner and thinner. We've not made any real profit yet. Ford Fiesta Auto, that was a decent deal. That wasn't in stock long. Golf Match, that was overage stock. There wasn't much left in that. My Audi S4, that's quite sad really. I didn't really want to get rid of that, but it's gone and there was a decent chunk of profit in that, so I can't complain. What else? Audi A4, that wasn't a great deal because I spent too much. There was probably £700 profit in that. Oh, I sold one of our old... I had like 4 courtesy cars that we just loan out to people. One was a blue Picanto that I'd had for too long. We didn't really need 4 either. 1 or 2 were always just parked up at my mechanics or whatever. So I decided to sell one just to help with cash flow, so that was money back. This is what I mean, out of the 18, if one of those was that, this isn't looking great really. Another BMW 520D, that was a decent deal. That's all right. I sold my blue Range Rover. That was money back. This was a poor month. My blue NX, that's sold, and while it looks like good profit on paper, I had a full respray done and all sorts, so there was probably only maybe £500 profit there. I sold my Range Rover, my L322, my 4.4 Vogue, the old Vet 9 one, that's sold. Only because I was away, I wasn't using it, it'd been parked up for a few months and I thought there's no point keeping all these cars. I got £5,000 for that in the end. So that's a decent chunk of profit, but that was my own car that I'd had for 3 years. Ford Ka, that was a decent deal. Peugeot 308, that was actually sold for a loss. A Citroen C1, that was another average deal. And a Hyundai Tucson that cost me an automatic gearbox repair and a timing chain. You can see why this is a terrible month. So if we roughly work out my profit here, there was none in the Tucson because of the repairs. There might have been £1,000 in the C1. There was none in the 308. Perhaps £1,000 in the Ford Ka. Maybe £1,500 in my own personal Range Rover because I had spent a lot of money on that over the years. My blue NX was probably £500 profit. This isn't good. These aren't the numbers that allow this business to continue. £500 there from the blue Range Rover. BMW 520D, I think there was a couple of grand in that actually, so that's all right. Picanto loan car, no profits. Audi A4, I think there was about 650 in that off the top of my head. Believe it or not, I am quite good with figures, so I do remember what I've earned from these. There was a couple of grand profit in that one. The Golf Match, that would have been about £500. No part exchange. There'd have been, I think, £1,200 in that Fiesta. The VW Up, that was quite a profitable deal. I think that was about £1,800 after prep. Peugeot 308, that's not a great deal. I don't even want to see this total, to be honest. It was about 1,500 in the Aurus, that's a decent deal. Corsa, there was about 12, I think. Insignia, maybe 12.50.
So it's paid, by the way.
The BMW 520D, I did a video with this. That, I'd spent too much on that. So I think I made about 600. And the Civic, I think about 1,200. So my total there is £19,000 profit, which sounds like a lot, doesn't it? Anyone watching this will think, you made 19 grand last month, that's great. Yeah, but my overheads are about 20. This is the problem. It takes an awful lot, even as scruffy and run down as this garage is, it takes an awful lot to keep the doors open. So to make £19,000 isn't enough, which is a sad state of affairs. When I first started High Peak Autos, I kept my expenses to a minimum. So it meant that even if I had a quiet month, I was still making a living. But £19,000 isn't enough. I won't have made a profit there. I've got wages to pay, expenses to pay. See, for example, this might be a bit of a moany video, but my phone bill here, like a BT corporate line for internet and, phone, is £250 a month, which is crazy. Then you've got the credit card machine, plus charges, plus FCA licenses and things like that. Auto Trader's like £6,600 a month. I've got a massive credit card there for all my repair bills. So I can't continue if I have another month like this one. Normally, if I can make, I always say this, but like between 30 and 40 cars a month, on average about £1,000 a car, then you're making maybe 10 grand a month, which isn't all mine, by the way, but it helps the business grow. And I suspect my overheads aren't even 20 these days. I think they're probably slightly north of that. In my mind, I always think they're 20. Just got to think, well, as long as I made 20, we're all good. But if they're more like 25, then it's not great, is it? Like the gas bill, for example, on this place. We only have a boiler, and it's been this summer, so we haven't even had it on. Like £486. It takes an awful lot of money just to keep this place open, which is quite depressing, really. The other thing to consider is you've got to constantly restock. So from that £19,000 profit, well, plus the initial outlay of those cars, I've then got to go out and buy more cars all the time. You can't think, I'm just going to take it easy this month, because then you're running your business into the ground. So you've got to constantly go out and buy new cars all the time, even when some days you don't have the money. So you've got to constantly juggle funds just so that you've got something to sell. There's no good, I've said this before in many videos, but you can't sell an empty forecourt space. You've got to sell a piece of metal. So that is the ongoing drama, really. On the bright side to all this, so I've got 3 or 4 test drives booked this weekend. I've got somebody coming to look at the Mini Cooper John Cooper Works Mini that I've got. I did a video with that. Kia Ceed Estate, an SW, that I bought about 3 days ago, and it was serviced and MOT'd about 3 weeks ago at the local Kia main dealer, and it's only got 1 advisor item for brake pads. So I've run that down to my mechanics, 4 new brake pads, then in theory it's ready to go. It's had a valet, it's good to go. That's 3,995, and there's about £1,200 profit in that. I'm hoping that goes. He's booked in for Saturday. I've got a test drive on the Honda HR-V, so that'd be a nice deal to go, because there might be £2 grand profit in that one, so that would help. I've got a test drive on a Kia Venga that we've got, which sadly there's no profit in that one because I've spent way too much on it. There might be maybe £400 at the end of the day, so that's not great, but still, it's money back in. That's 3,995, I think. I think I paid £2 grand for that, and I've spent £1,400 or £1,500 preparing it for sale because it needed tyres, brakes, all that sort of stuff. What else? There's something else. Oh, the Touareg. I did a video with a VW Touareg, a 2011 new shape Touareg, ages ago. I've had it in stock a while. Anyway, I've got a test drive booked on Sunday. So if he has that, then there should be, I think there's probably £1,500 or £1,800 profit in that. So that would be a decent deal. So what I'm going to do is, give all these deals the best chance. I'm going to go out there and make sure they're all clean and ready to go. I'll make sure that there's plenty of fuel in them, there's no warning lights on, the tyres are pumped up. I really need to give this my all to make sure that those deals go out the door. Then I'll get some money back in the bank and things will be looking slightly better. Sorry for this depressing video, but this is just the reality of it sometimes. It's not always loads of profit and nice fancy cars. Let me go and grab the keys then for the cars we've got test drives booked on, and we'll go and see what they need. So this is the Kia Ceed SW that I was telling you about. Now this would be a nice one to sell because, like I say, I bought it like 3 days ago, so that'd be a nice quick turnaround. There's a decent chunk of profit in it and it doesn't need anything. This is one of the rare occasions where I get it completely right, and it is more fluke sometimes. It's got really good service history, full Kia history, and yeah, it was service MOT'd by them very recently. So the only thing really that I had to do to this, apart from valet, was replace the brake pads because they were the only advisor item on the last MOT, and then it's good to go. So what we're going to do now is just double check everything. It could do with a set of mats really. It's a nice clean car though, for a 10-year-old 112,000 mile Kia Ceed estate. It's quite a nice example. Didn't need any paint. It's a really nice clean car. So all I'm doing now, which I try and do before every weekend, is just make sure that anything that we've got an appointment on just gets a quick once over to make sure that it's all right. I was going to take this down to the car wash and just get it washed and dried off. In fact, I might still do that. It's been raining on and off today, so that doesn't, it looks all right, but like I say, I desperately need this to sell, so then we'll get this off. I'll just I'll leave the key in it so I remember which one to move. There's a little bit of wear on the bolster, but it's not bad at all. It's even got Classic FM on. That's the sort of person that's owned that car. And you can tell because it's got full history and everything.
It's a sales technique.
The next one that I've got a test drive on is the Honda HR-V. So this could do with some tyre shine. It's a nice car though, this. It's only done 13,000 miles. It's genuinely a really nice example. It's got full history, it doesn't need anything at all. So I'm just going to make sure basically that we've got fuel in each of them, the tyre pressures are all good, we've got no warning lights on, and make sure they're all clean and ready to go. The last thing I want to do, because I'm so desperate for a sale, the last thing I want to happen is we actually get a customer here and they don't buy the car because something I've forgotten about or, you know, not done. I would hate that because then all of a sudden, I'd hate that because then I'd be kicking myself because then it's down to me then. So I just need to make sure that everything's right. This needs a quick vacuum out actually. It's had a valet, but there are a couple of areas there that just need a quick wipe down and vacuum out. The other two cars that we've got test drives on, the VW Touareg and the John Cooper Works Mini, they're at the car wash now. So as soon as they're ready, I'll swap this and that for them. Then we'll get them in a line somewhere, probably over the road there in those parking bays. Then they're all lined up neat. I look professional. Hopefully it's just a formality. Once they come and see them and see how clean they are and tidy they are, hopefully it's just a done deal. I always think in this job, really, you don't need to be a pushy salesman. The cars should sell themselves. That's what I've always believed in. So just got to get the cars looking as good as possible. I've got a bit of a headache now. And hopefully, yeah, my fortunes will turn around. I mentioned at the start of this video that I hadn't had chance or money really to finish off the whole sort of renovation of the garage. That's because, one, I don't own the site, so I'm really reluctant to put extra money into it. I've spent quite a bit of money doing the back wall, you know, with new insulation and new paneling and new signs and stuff, but I desperately need to do the rest of it, but it's going to cost maybe £5,000 or something, and right now I don't have it, in all honesty. I don't believe that's the reason, or the scruffiness of the garage, I don't believe that's the reason we've been so quiet, because it's looked like this for the 7 or 8 years that I've been here, so that isn't the reason for the sudden downturn. It's not that. And also, I'm a bit of a firm believer in this, but we sell kind of run-of-the-mill average cars. It doesn't need to look like some big glass palace. I think that gives the wrong impression. I think it's far better for it to be a humble working garage, really, than anything too fancy. We don't sell Bentleys or Rolls Royces, so it doesn't need to look, you know, we don't need to roll out the red carpet, basically. So while it might look a bit scruffy, and I am a little bit embarrassed about it, particularly this entrance bit, it is what it is. It's 70-year-old family-run thing. Do you know what I mean? I think that's about it for today, though. Like I said, I'm going to get these cars ready and give myself the best chance, really, for sales. I'm going to go and have a word with my colleague and double check that everyone's booked in, everyone's got a certain time and there are no double bookings and all that stuff. I just want everything to run smoothly this weekend. I can't afford to have any cock-ups. So I'm going to go and do that, and I'll catch up with you later on. So I've got an update for you. Of all my test drives booked over the weekend, and bear in mind there were 4, the Touareg, the Mini John Cooper Works, the HRV and the Kia Ceed, only 2 of those sold. Although that's a little bit disappointing, I'm still quite pleased and relieved that we at least sold 2. It just means that there's some money coming back in and, well, you know, it just helps with cash flow and everything else. So the John Cooper Works sold. The guy flew down from Aberdeen and bought that and drove it back, so that's good. That was a nice car. And there was still a decent chunk of profit in that. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but I think there was maybe £1,800 profit, so that's a decent deal. What else? The Kia Ceed SW that I rushed through my mechanics to have the pads done, just so it, you know, had a clean MOT and everything else. The guy never showed, so that's quite disappointing. I was hoping that was done. The car was really nice, so that should have been a formality and it wasn't. The next one was the Honda HRV. That was a local guy and he had an automatic Vauxhall Mocha in part exchange, which I was quite pleased about because I thought that would be a good part exchange. They always sell well, and the fact it's automatic, you know, there's always somebody looking for an auto crossover. He called on Saturday to cancel, sadly, and he was really disappointed about this, but I can't and shouldn't go into the reasons. But anyway, so that he cancelled, so that one fell. What was the last one? The VW Touareg. Now, I thought that deal was going to collapse, to be honest, because he was due on Saturday. And one of my colleagues called him on Saturday and he didn't answer, so I thought that's just done, that's dead in the water. Then on Sunday, out of the blue, he just turned up and bought it. So that was a good deal. And I still think there was probably £1,500 profit in that one. So all up, that wasn't a bad weekend really. But still, I need a little bit more just to balance the books. But yeah, it is positive. I won't be cracking open any bottles of champagne anytime soon, but it is reassuring. Things might be, hopefully, on the up. I read an article this morning, and according to the SMMT, new car sales were up something like 13%. So that's quite encouraging. Hopefully, there is always a trickle-down effect with new car sales. So if they're up, that should mean that trickles down to used car sales as well. There'll be more part exchanges, you know, the whole thing should just pick up generally. And also, if new car sales are up, you know, buyers' confidence must be up as well. So, yeah, I thought that was quite encouraging news to come out of the SMMT this morning. But yeah, that's about it. So thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. I'll leave the links below. Until next time, see you.
Next time.
See you. So, I messed up my line there, didn't I? Anyway, right, I'll see you next time. Cheers, guys.